Hey there, it's CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, downtown across the Red River. Is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana, and I am out here taking, what I call a health walk. It's good for my cardio. It's good for my spirits, just getting out, just, moving a muscle gives you some endorphins and just, get you out there. So that's what this is about. And as of this moment, I have no particular theme as to what I'm going to be talking about. I never do. When I come out doing these things, I'll start talking. I'll stumble across some sort of train of thought that has like maybe a cohesiveness to it, and then maybe I can put a little bit of a theme. But in the meantime, just health walk, just getting out. In the evenings, it's better than it is in the middle of the heat of the day. In Louisiana, we get hot in the summer. We're either too hot or we're too wet from the rains. But yay. So, and I am, in my apartment complexes, the Bayou Grand. And right across the street is like just the heart of downtown. And I'll be doing some more walking and talking as I get a little further towards the river, because I'm going to check out the river. So hang tight. Oh, I know what I'll talk about a little bit. Yay. So, I do go to the gym a couple of nights a week. And not the last couple of times that I went, but sometime before, I did this thing where you take the weights and crunch them with your thighs, kind of like the old-fashioned Suzanne Somers Thigh Master. I don't know what you call that machine, but like a thigh abductor or a thigh adductor, I don't know. But anyway, I think it's the abductor. That's when you your thighs crunch in or close, whatever it is. But it was my first time doing that one, and I was sore. I love the results of it, but I was sore. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to add that into my routine. But for me, going to the gym, I'm not trying to acquire, physical perfection or anything like that. I just want better health. So if you can do something a little bit physical, I'm aware of a friend who, and I didn't do it, but he did some chair. There's some exercises at home from his chair yoga or something like that, and lost a fair amount of weight. Like, he really looks good. Like the weight loss looks good on him. So yeah, just anything like that you can do for yourself to treat yourself well, because that's the kind of thing that nobody can do for you. You have to do it for yourself. Self-care. Oh, so last Friday I went to, I think I already kind of walked past it a little too far, but the new state building that's going to open up. I'll walk around and see if I can catch it on the backside real quick while I'm thinking about it. So at this downtown luncheon that we do every few weeks or whatever, we have keynote speakers that come in and talk and about downtown. And one of the things that we heard about was, it's here. It's when I get up here, I'll flip it, the camera, so I can show you what I'm talking about. The new state building. Now, it's still in construction, but it is right on this corner that we're coming up to across the street, and so it's great. Good time for me to talk about it. The one of the people from Broadmoor Construction is the local thing up here. That's part of a bigger thing, but they've taken residence and decided that they're going to live up here and be part of the downtown community. I love it, and the Shreveport community and everything, which is promising because it means that there is architectural growth happening. So the building that I'm going to be talking about was, let me show you. It's right across from this parking structure. So there's Government Plaza, and then with this building that we're going to be talking about had been built in the 1920s. And so what they started to do it was shortly after I had moved. I guess that the wheels had been set in motion, but the actual construction started after I had been moved in my apartment. But it was towards the end of COVID, but when they were starting to open things up. The pandemic was still a pandemic, you know, and but it was sort of at the end of that where people were getting some vaccinations, and things had opened back up and people had returned to work and stuff. So it was at that time that I started to see them doing the deconstruction of this building on the corner that I'm going to walk over to. And they literally took this thing down to its rails, to the metal skeleton of the building. What I think are called I-beams. All of it. They stripped, because there was a lot of asbestos in the building and everything like that. They cleared out all that so they could work on this. And I know that I've talked about it before, but so what's going to happen is when it's completed, the windows they're going to have the peels, the laminate peeled off of the windows, and it's going to be basically transparent throughout the building for the most part. And I think the theme of transparency in government kind of would play in there a little bit, but really I just think it's a creative architectural choice, and so we are so excited to see what it's going to look like when it's finished. It does not look exactly like the artist's rendering. The artist's rendering that I saw, that the illustration was that all these bits and structures on the outside of the building, these lines and everything, they were meant to be ledges, that came out a little bit. But I don't know. I know that the features on the outside of this building are not yet complete. They're marked, and it seems like there's going to be more going to it. But we're really excited for it. This is going to be one of the most modern buildings in our downtown area, and we're excited for it. And the structure is different. This used to be the Federal Building, and then it closed down and they built another federal building. But see how it was built? It wasn't built to be owned by the federal government. It was built and then leased out to the federal government in the 1990s. And it was built to specification to attract government business. So it looked like a federal building, and the original building is still there. It had it almost looked like a prison to me. It looked very institutional. The windows were indented and small, uh, indentions. It was within the side of the building, but uh, you know. Uh, but so at some point it stopped being the federal building because they built this building, and this is the current U.S. federal building. That's what that other building used to be, the U.S. Federal building. And then, of course, since the 1990s, it stood empty. And so it was kind of neat that they were able to take it all the way down. They added on, surely, to the building because it didn't, all the front kind of stuff. And then they're building in the back the architecture couldn't even quite name the charcoal slate color of it, but yeah, it was meant to be kind of creative and a nice architectural choice, but to kind of maybe give Shreveport, as we build, a more modern aesthetic. So in the 1920s, of course, we were limited to those aesthetics, but Art Deco was not quite the style at the time, so but this is the modern, and you see a lot of windows and everything, but it still looks a little bit municipal, but not overly. It doesn't look like a prison, but yeah, it does look somewhat purposeful for government use. So, I don't know, two different types of architecture. But this is the current. I remember coming down here in the mid 1990s. My friend Jane, she wasn't yet married. She had been married, and then she was divorced, and then she was kind of dating a guy, but he was in jail facing federal charges. And I was in cosmetology at the time, and he had a hearing coming up, and she asked, would I consider coming to cut his hair. So I went a couple of times to give him a haircut. I didn't mind that because I felt like even someone facing criminal charges, and even if someone's guilty or whatever, if that I can extend a courtesy to anybody. So I came down here and I would do his haircut and everything like that. And then at one time she asked, was there something I could do to help him metaphysically? And I said, well, the only thing I would do, because I don't want to do anything and I don't believe in messing with karma, the only thing I'd be willing to do was to come up with a prayer to the principalities that be, that whomever, that basically, and today that would be God, but basically, as we know God, I've had an understanding that my personal experiences do not have to conflict with my Christian beliefs, as long as I do my own research and develop my own understanding of what God and Christianity, is to me. But at the time, I had some consecrated lotion, rubbed it on a candle, came down and lit some candles, and then we circled around this circle and we did a little prayer and everything like that. And the only thing I would do was I would pray for a non-prejudicial justice to be served, And of course, he did get a life sentence. He did not get a death penalty, but he was up against the death penalty, so who knows. But that was my memory of this building. And we were down here in the middle of the night, like at midnight, going around like little witches or whatever. So I really don't do a lot of stuff like that anymore. It's like, what I do now is I have a little bit of a trust that God knows what's going on with the world, and that the things are going to play out in the way that they should play out, and even when the free will of man goes against the request that God might have of each individual mankind or something like that, as it often does, that I do believe that everything will be made to serve the greater purpose of God, and that is for the betterment of the goodwill in general. But at the same time, free will means that you don't force people to do things. You don't force. See, that's what real love is too. It's not just about man and God. Now we're going to talk about relationships, because I don't have a relationship right now. But what I've learned is that you can't entrap somebody in a loving relationship or a friendship or anything like that. You can't entrap somebody by manipulation or guilt or any of that BS that we sometimes will be want to do. And I mean everybody does that from time to time, But free will means letting people be who they are and loving people for who they are, flaws and all, without trying to manipulate or bend them to do like I can have ideas and suggestions, but I can't try to manipulate or force people to do the activities that I want to do, even in my friendships. It's a cooperative thing. And even though I'm not too romantically interested in anyone, I'm definitely interested in friendships, and these philosophies of not trying to force my way upon situations basically has made me a better friend, I think, than what I used to be. So see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I will come out and I will walk around and look at some things, and then whatever my topic is going to be revealed the more that I talk. And in this case, when I used to have this great need to control everything when I was in my mid to late 20s, going forward, I'm a lot less controlling of things now, and I'm a lot happier, and my friends that I have are real friends. They're real friendships. They're based in realness, and they don't require constant daily, I can be okay like this, going out taking walks by myself at night and everything. I don't have to have constant entertainment. I don't have someone constantly having to distract me from the thoughts in my own mind. I can enjoy life a lot less codependently. But that type of philosophy came with an evolution. While I never had a lot of money, I used to have access to a lot of money, comparatively a lot of money, based on most of the associations and family and friends that I had in my 20s. And so a lot of those situations were based upon what kind of money did I have. Was I gonna pick up the tab for dinner, get 6 or 8 people together for dinner and I pay for the whole thing, and then the whole family gets together and we go out for karaoke 2 or 3 nights a week, including babysitting for some of the younger kids and everything like that. Was I going to be responsible for getting that bill paid so that other people didn't have to pay their bill, because of the access, which it wasn't my money. I just had access to it, and there was a lot of that. So I trained people, not without knowing it, to rely on the fact that if I have money and if I can pay the bills or whatever, then yeah, let's get together and we'll hang out and everything. Well, the problem with that is that when the money is not there because my situation changed, my job changed. My job had to change because the guy that I was working for was under this weird impression that total access and control of my life was part of the job. I went there to manage a couple of houses where he lived in the back house and his mother lived in the front, and I was, you know, it was whatever. And it turned out to be a real creepy kind of situation that as much as I tried to walk away from, every time I got ready to walk away from, there would be some sort of family or friend having some sort of crisis in which they needed access to the money that I had access to or whatever. So basically, you know, I let that happen to me, you know. There was never a sexual relationship, but there was always me walking around trying to fight off sexual advances, which I wasn't going to put up with. So weird. Hang on. So I was passing by somebody and I didn't want to inadvertently catch them in my vlog. So anyway, yeah, those kind of control things that I don't know, it's like my security, my personal security became based on what I could provide. And it's not like I didn't continue or maintain some of those relationships and friendships even after my relationship changed. It's just I was changed by having myself be let into that situation, you know. And for a long time I thought that I had to control my environments and my people in it, and I had to sort of guide it and kind of like, you know, take lead of it. And now I'm a lot more cooperative and communicating and getting input and what do you want to do, what do you want to do, that kind of stuff, you know. Hang on. So I'm at the Red River District, and you know, we've in downtown Shreveport, we've relied on 50 Cent and his G Unit studio in a lot of what's going on down here. Well, I don't know what the deal is. There was some sort of thing with one of the properties he was interested in and whatever. And he made a cryptic note that he only makes deals that make sense, and he's going to have to back off from the Red River District, or whatever that meant. It was some sort of cryptic thing or something like that. And so we don't quite know what he meant by that, what his continued involvement is going to be in Shreveport, downtown Shreveport moving forward. But it'll be interesting. It wasn't having a major effect on me one way or another, but it will be interesting to see if he's still interested in doing that permanent G-dome that he was building. You know, how much he's going to continue to invest in G-Unit Studios, which used to be the Millennium Studios that's outside of my apartment that I can look at and see, you know. And then of course there's the other studio that he has down here that used to be the Expo Hall. And then that became a basketball court kind of thing or whatever, and then later on he decided to get it. So this is behind me, G-Unit, hang on, a property of G-Unit Studio or whatever called the G Spot. And right now no one's out here, but it's Monday, and on the weekends it tends to be a little bit busier. But yeah, one of our businesses over here, Cassandra's on the Red. This proprietor has opened, this is the third business that she's opened there, and this time it seems like it's gonna stick. She's been here for a while, so yay. We'll hope that stays open for a while. I haven't been there yet because there are a lot of places downtown that I have not been to. There are so many places for food and beverage and everything. And then, of course, right across the street from under that bridge, we have one of the casinos here, Bally's Casino. I've seen this casino be many different types of casinos since the 1990s when we first opened them, or when we allowed them to be opened, I should say, on the Red River off of Shreveport. The casino companies have sold and changed many times since then. And then we're going to come look at the bridge. When I first came back to town, I would say probably the spring of 1993 is when at some point they came across this bridge and put neon lights in many different configurations on it, and nobody really, we were perplexed. There was some sort of abstract, but nobody really got it. We didn't know what it was. And gradually, year after year, those lights gradually quit working. And eventually we could just see the burnout bulbs up there and everything. And then, well, a few years ago, Dr. Prokowski and his wife or whatever headed up a private endeavor to get LED lights, and then they got other funding to come in and everything. So it really took no public funding. So it was all privately funded. So it took no money from the city. Certainly maybe some grants or something like that. And I don't know if some of that was federal grant money or something like that. But at the time, there was no there were no local funds going to it. But a lot of people were complaining, you know, there's so many other things to do. Why put up a bridge? And it's like, well, that's a private endeavor. I mean, I used to have that conversation when they were building it, and it's going to be nice to have it lit up down here and be able to do functions. And of course, it is here. I mean, you've seen my face enough. So, yeah, it is nice that this bridge is down here and that it's lit up and it's beautiful. And you know, about once a month there's a bridge lighting thing where we light up the new patterns, and there's always, you know, food trucks and all this kind of stuff about once a month. And then several other times during the year there's different functionalities, different functions I should say, that happen down here or whatever. So I did get rained out on 4th of July, but it's kind of a low-flying plane, but I think that's going into... We have a regional airport that's for smaller aircrafts, and then of course we have the bigger airport in Shreveport. This one would be downtown, but that one looks like maybe, I don't know, it's kind of coming down. Is it going to swing around? It is an airplane, it's not a helicopter. It literally just circled right over my head. I just didn't see it in time to point the camera at it. But anyway, yeah, so, I mean, I think it's nice to invest in the aesthetics of a downtown area. A healthy, robust downtown to any, or central to any area, any sort of central features or personality or something. It gives it an identity to be put into, you know, to become a destination. You can't be a destination if you have no identity. And, you know, I would love to see us become a destination, a place to come to, you know, rather than a place that's known for, you know, gun violence, you know, because we do have a lot of shootings. Most of it happens in the most poverty-stricken areas, and not so much elsewhere, you know. But that's par for the course of any metro area where you're going to have neighbors and communities that, you know, generational poverty all the problems that go along with that, you know, they still occur in any area, and there's going to be, you know, higher crime and higher gun violence, and it's going to bring down the profile of any city. So moving forward, what I would love to see, not just Shreveport, but all of our cities do, is I would love to see us get more involved with basically not, well, I don't want to just take poverty and break it up and disperse it. I want to see people find a pathway out of their poverty. I want to see people learn how to live within their means, but also be provided means to give them a respectable quality of life, so that you're not just living in a box and eating barely enough food to live, and having no money left over at the end of your pay period, and you're trying to decide, am I going to buy medicine or am I going to pay this utility bill? Am I going to be able to, in the middle of the heat, am I going to be able to turn on a fan or use an air conditioning, or can I not afford that and I have to not use electricity as much as possible because I cannot afford, you know, like, I've lived in desperation, you know, financial desperation. It's easier to do as a single person than when you're trying to raise a family. But I have also seen, well, especially when I lived at the Fairmont, and this was more of a, you know, our heat, whether we were going to be able to use the heat or not, was the main control in the building that would control what we could use or not. And that's because the bills were included in where I lived, and they would regulate, and it just did not work out that way. It was horrible, you know. I managed, because I knew that I was moving into Bayou Grande, I managed to stick through that, living in the Fairmont, because I saw a better living situation. I just needed to persevere and stick to it, you know. And so I did, but for a few years there, it was like there was no there was going to be no comfort as far as air conditioning and everything like that. So I ended up getting like a lot of box fans and things like that. So, but yeah, whatever. What is this? Oh, looks like someone's left their bag here, so there's probably someone around. Oh, there's someone over there. It's like, there's a lot of people that live outside in many areas, and in Shreveport there's a lot of people that live outside. I always try to be respectful when I encounter them, you know, and there's never any reason to be like brutal or mean to someone, you know. That's my philosophy. And I live down here, and as I take a walk in the morning and the night and the daytime or whatever, I'm going to see some of these same people. They're my neighbors. They live outside, but they're here, you know, and there's no reason to not say hello or not be welcoming when someone tells me hello. You know, there's no reason to be there's no reason to dehumanize someone because of their living situation, you know. And I have empathy for it because I've been there, you know, and yeah. There are, I don't know what's going on down here. Maybe something to do with the recent floodings and some erosion or something like that. But what used to be over here, what I'm not seeing now. Wow. what I'm not seeing is that there used to be a bit of art. There's a video, you can go back and you can look at it. And it was an artistic structure that you actually could walk through and interact with. And I'm not seeing that here anymore. I wonder if it's been moved or taken down so that they're going to do some other stuff. So I wonder if, I don't know what's going on here. I wonder if there was some sort of, this is hopeful. I'm hoping that whatever the problem that G-Unit and 50 Cent had with what was going on in Shreveport and the flood zone and this and that, I wonder if this is tied into it, and I wonder if in that case it's going to be some of the repairs and things that were needed in order to make him feel comfortable in proceeding, moving forward. I hope this is a sign that they have reconciled some of that kind of stuff. I hope so. But that structure was right past here. This is, you could read these. This is a monument. The grass is kind of high. I'm not going to go in there right now. But it's a monument to I can't read it. I can't see it. Probably veterans or something like that, or people who have lost their lives for something. I know that on the other side there actually is a monument to police officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. And I think it's really important that we do acknowledge that, you know. Can I zoom in? That may be the structure that I'm thinking of, but it's kind of off in the distance. And because there's going on here, I'm not going to walk over there. I was initially going to walk through it and kind of, yay, but I'm not going to do that now. Well, that's going to, whatever development is happening there, meaning if it's shoring up the riverbank because of erosion, or if it's tied into something else, you know. I know that right now it smells terrible. Because of what they've dug up or whatever. So, but interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on things, and I'll report more about it. So right now, the fountains are turned off. But these are like splash parks, you know. I don't know if this side is. I think it is, but I'm not sure. But I know that over here, this is a splash park where people can come down here. I think the other side is too, but I think for sure there are two triangular areas here, and it's a splash park. And I see somebody else down here taking pictures and things, so that's kind of cool. But it's like yeah, there's sprinklers, jets and everything like that shoot up, but it's really, really high, and kids come down here and they get relief from the heat. And we were doing that on the 4th of July. That actually was pretty cool. So my little niece got to splash around on it. And you know what I'll be able to do? On the 29th, we're doing another one of those. See, that's kind of great that we do that as a community. It's called Lunch on Us and Lunch and Discover and blah, blah, blah. Hang on. So, I wanted to let that bike pass by before I continued to try to talk, because I didn't want to talk over it. So, yeah, the Discover of downtown or whatever, Lunch and Discover or something like that or whatever. It's an evolution of what we used to be called the Lunch on Us, where the Downtown Development Authority would have these coupons, and you would drop by the locations and you would pick up a coupon, and it would be for you to have lunch at a certain location or something. And it was like, as long as the the coupons were available. So it was like first come, first serve and everything. And so now what they're doing is they're taking that same initiative, and they're doing it where you come to lunch and they have one of the businesses or a couple of the businesses or whatever come together and make lunch for the group. And last time it was Bon Asian. The time before that, which was the second one they did this year, was what was the name of the business? Fat Tuesdays. So those two businesses, and then of course Sideport back here, they bring a tabletop ice cream demonstration where they make ice cream by using a freeze-dried method. You know, one of the, I don't know what, they gave me the lowdown on it, but it was basically, you know, the way they freeze dry like micro dot ice cream, but they use that in some sort of a way and freeze and make ice cream, and then they serve ice cream to people, and it's really kind of fun. They've been doing that. So I didn't go to the very first one, but I went to the second one and I went to the third one. And of course I will go to the one on the 29th because I love to support these projects, and it's a real good way to find out what's going on downtown. That's how I learned about the progress that was being made at the new state building. Now the state building is currently on Jordan Street near Fairfield, and actually it's pronounced Jordan Street. It's spelled Jordan, but we pronounce it Jordan locally. I don't know why that is, but that is the official Jordan Street. If you're local, you will know call it Jordan. Sort of in the same way that, like, if you're in New Orleans, there's a street called Burgundy, and you know that you pronounce that name Burgundy. You don't pronounce it Burgundy Street, but it intersects with Bourbon Street, and it is a type of liquor, Burgundy, but we pronounce it down in New Orleans Burgundy, you know. And if you want to just announce that you're not a local, call it Burgundy Street. So anyway, that's where the state building is. It's on Jordan and Fairfield, and while it's great, it's hard to find if you're looking for a specific agency or something like that in that building. It's you have to walk around and search for it. It's kind of, you know, I remember looking for some information, went there, had to walk around the entire building, and nobody knew anything, and there's not an index, and totally found out that I'm in the entire wrong branch of the government that I needed to go for the information that I needed to look for. I needed to look locally, local government, for those situations. And of course, the answer that I was looking for had to do with apartment leasing and the rules around that. And of course, locally in Shreveport, we defer to state law. So whatever the state law would have said, those are the rules that we follow locally, especially where I live. But, you know, hey, you know, I did a lot of footwork that day. Fortunately, what's going to be better, the new state building is going to be located downtown Shreveport, so I can go there to the state building, go up 2 blocks when I need to do something. I can go up 2 blocks to the federal government building, but I can go a couple of blocks over where I can do our parish business. In Louisiana, the areas that other states call counties, we call parish due to you know, the way that we choose to identify ourselves in Louisiana. You know, I want to hang on to some of those French and frankly, Catholic inspired traditions, parishes, you know, that's from the Catholic Church or whatever. So, but it doesn't really matter that much to me. It's that we've had parishes for so long instead of counties, and I think that we're the only state that has parishes instead of counties. But that's fine. We're not the only ones that have our uniqueness. We're not the only state that has unique qualities. Like for instance, there's a grouping of states called a commonwealth. It's not a singular state, it's a group of states, and they're all collective, and they're all called a commonwealth. And they function their laws as one. Like this, they have a law governing the entire commonwealth. You know, so and I know this because there's no such thing as the state of Kentucky. It's the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Kentucky's not a state. Officially, it's a commonwealth. It's so weird.